Hello! In today's video, we are going to make a tutorial for a winter adult beanie, and we are going to use number 4 medium worsted weight yarn and size J number 6mm crochet hook. And let's make a magic ring. Chain 3, make 9 double crochet into the ring, the total of 10 including the first chain 3 that we just made. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I have the total of 10. 2, 4, 6, 8. One more. 10. So in the magic ring we have the total of 10, and now we are going to close the ring and join into the very first chain 3. Make a chain of 2 and make a front post double crochet into the second. This is the first, and we are going to do it into the second double front post double crochet, and then one double into the same front post, front post into the next double, double into the same double, front post, repeat all around, and I will meet you for the joining. Okay, for the joining, let's make one more front post double crochet into the bottom of the chain 2, one front post, and then join into the chain 2 in the beginning of the round, and then let's make chain 2, then front post into the next front post, front post into the next double, double on top of the double we just used for the front post, front post into the next front post, front post into the next double, one double into the same double. Repeat this round with front post into the first front post into the next double, double into the same double, front post into the next front post into the next double, double into the same double. Let's do this round, and I will meet you for the joining. Okay, now I finished my round, but before we join, we need to make one more front post into the very first chain 2, at the bottom of the very first chain 2, one front post, and then join into the chain 2, and then make a chain 2 and front post into the next 3, 1, 2, 3, and make one double into the same double, front post into the next 3, one double into the same double, front post into the next 3. Continue this round with this front post into the 3 stitches, and then double into the same, front post into the 3, double into the same. Continue this, and I will meet you for the joining. Okay, now I finished my round, but before we close, we need to make one more front post into the first double crochet from the previous round. and then join with slip stitch into the first chain 2 and make a chain 2 and then front post into the next double, front post into the next double, front post into the next double, front post into the next double. So we have 4 front posts and make 1 double behind the last front post. Then front post into each of next 4 and then make 1 double on top of the last double. Front post, front post, front post, front post, and double. Front post, front post, front post, front post, double. Continue this round with front post into 4 stitches, double at the back of the last front post, front post in 4 stitches, double at the back of front post. Continue this round and I will meet you for the joining. Okay, now I finished my round, but before the closing we still need to make 1 more front post at the back of at the bottom of the first chain 2. Join with slip stitch on top of the chain 2 and this time we are going to make 1 front post single into the first double front post single. This is counted as chain 1, so make chain 2, front post in each of next 3, 1, 2, 3. Into the next double, make 2 back posts. 1, 2. And into the next 4 front posts, let's make 1 front post in each. 1, 2, 3, 4. Into the next double, let's make 2 back posts double. 1, 2. Front post in each of the next 4 front posts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back post in next double, 2 back posts. Continue this round with front post in each of the 4 front posts, 2 back posts at 2 back post double at the next double, front post in each of the next 4 front posts, 2 back posts into the next, front post into the next, back post into the next. Continue this round and I will meet you for the joining. Okay, now I finished my round, ending with 2 back posts into the last double. Now we are going to join it with slip stitch into the first chain 2 and make 1 front post single into the same stitch, chain 2, front post double into the next, front post double into the next, front post double into the next. And now we are going to make 1 back post double into the next back post and make 2 back posts into the next back post. 2 back post double. and make 4 front posts double in each of the next 4 front posts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 back post double into the next back post. 2 back post double into the next back post. Continue this round with 1 front post double in each of the next 4 front posts, 1 back post into the next back post, 2 back post double into the next back post double, and 1 front post double in each of the next 4, 1 back post into the next back post, 2 back post double into the next back post. Continue this round and I will meet you for the joining. Okay, now I finished my round ending with 2 back posts at the last back post double. Now we are going to join with slip stitch into the very first chain 2, front post single into the same stitch, chain 2, front post double into the next, front post double into the next, front post double into the next, and 1 back post into the next back post, 1 back post double into the next back post. At the last back post, make 2 back post double. 1, 2. Now we are going to make 1 front post double in each of the next front post. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1 back post into the next back post, 1 back post into the next, 2 back post double into the next. Repeat this round with 1 front post double in each of the next 4 front posts, 1 back post double in each of the next 2 back posts, and then 2 back posts double into the next back post, front post into the next 4 front posts, back post into the next in each of the next 2 back posts, then 2 back posts in next back post. Repeat this round and I will meet you at the joining. Okay, now I finished my round ending with 2 back posts into the last back post double. Now we are going to join with slip stitch into the very first chain 2. This time we are going to make 1 front post single into this second front post, chain 2, front post into the next, front post double into the next, and into the next back post make 1 front post double, back post in each of the next 3 back posts, 1 back post double into the next, back post double into the next, and 1 back post into the first front post. This time we are going to start for the body of the hat. Now we are going to make 1 front post in each of the next 4. 1 front post double, front post double, front post double, front post double, and then back post double, back post double, back post double, back post double, front post double, front post double, front post double, front post double, back post double, back post double, back post double, back post double. Repeat this round with front post in each of the next 4 front posts, front post in each of the next 3 front posts, front post in next back post, front back post in each of the next 3 back posts, back post into the next front post in each of the next 3 front post in next back post in each of the next 3 back post in the next front post. Continue this round all the way, and then I will meet you for the joining. Now for the joining, let's make one back post into the skip front post. This is the skip front post. One back post, and then join with slip stitch into the very first chain 2. Now we are going to skip this one, and we are going to make one front post single into the next double, make a chain 2, front post double into the next 3, back post double into the next 4, front post into the next 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, back post into the next 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Continue this round with front post double in each of the next 4, back post double in each of the next 4, front post in each of the next 4, back post in each of the next 4. This time around we are going to form the spiral for the body of the hat, and go ahead and finish your round, and I will meet you for the joining. Now for the joining, let's make one more back post into the skip front post, back post double into the skip front post, and then join it into the very first chain 2. Repeat this last round all the way until you have the measurement of 8 inches long for the hat. And yeah, and always remember to skip the first joining space, make a single front post into the next, and then chain 2, and then repeat the 4 front posts, 4 back posts, 4 front posts, 4 back posts, but always remember to use the skip front post to make a 1 back post to complete the last 4 back posts at the end of each round, and then always join into the chain 2 on top of the chain 2. Go ahead, finish your hat until you have the measurement of 8 inches, and I will show you how to make the brim. Okay, now I finished my 8 inches, and I am going to switch my hook into the smaller size, which is size 5mm crochet hook. You can see 5mm crochet hook, And now we're going to start for the brim. Make a chain 1, single into the same stitch, make a single stitch in each stitches around. Continue and finish that. One single in each stitch around, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, now I finished my single crochet round, and I'm gonna make 2 more rounds. Chain 1, single into the same stitch, single in each stitch around. This time we are working for the brim of the hat. Okay, make another, after this round, make another 1 more round, or make a few more rounds, whatever you prefer, but I am going to make 3 rounds only for the single crochet. And after this round and the next round, I will be closing my work and it's ready to use. And this can be a unisex. A man or a woman can use it because the size is just perfect for the medium size teens to adults. And as you see, this spiral pattern came out after I finished the 8 inches length of the hat. And yeah, just finish your single crochet round, make 2 more rounds, and it's ready and it's done. And yeah, you have a winter hat for the cold winter. Thank you for joining me, and see you again next time. Bye bye.